If you're over 50, your vision is already under attack, and you might not even feel it yet. But what if I told you there's one vitamin clinically proven, backed by neuroscience, that could literally save your eyesight? This isn't hype, it's real science. And it's not just about seeing better. It's about protecting your brain, your independence, and your quality of life. Ignore this, and the slow fade begins. Understand it, and you stay sharp, focused, and in control. Let me show you exactly what it is and how to use it before it's too late. Vitamin A plays a far more critical role in eye health than most people realize. It's not just a general supplement, it's a neuroprotective agent with specific actions tied directly to vision. When light enters the eye, it doesn't just stay there, it's converted into neural signals that travel through complex pathways to the brain. Vitamin A is crucial for that initial conversion, acting as a core component of rhodopsin, a protein in the eye that allows us to see in low light. Without enough of it, the process breaks down and vision becomes strained or impaired, especially at night. After 50, this becomes even more urgent because the body's ability to absorb and utilize this vitamin starts to decline. This makes supplementation or proper intake not just useful, but essential. Vision loss in older adults often begins subtly with fading contrast or poor low light performance. The foundation to reversing or preventing that is maintaining optimal vitamin A levels. Beyond its role in converting light to neural signals, vitamin A also contributes to the structural integrity of the eye itself. The retina, which is the light-sensitive tissue at the back of the eye, is where most of the visual processing begins. This tissue houses millions of photoreceptor cells that rely heavily on vitamin A to function. These cells are not easily regenerated once damaged, which means prevention is key. Vitamin A helps prevent the breakdown of these cells by reducing oxidative stress, one of the major contributors to age degeneration. Inflammation and free radicals are enemies of healthy vision, and this vitamin works to neutralize them at the cellular level. It acts like an internal shield, fortifying the tissue against gradual damage. A deficiency in this vitamin doesn't just lead to poor night vision. It opens the door to deeper neurological impairments related to the visual system. That's why consistent intake over time is more protective than reactive fixes. As people age, many focus on external factors of aging. But internal degeneration, particularly in sensory systems like vision, often goes unnoticed until it becomes a serious problem. Vitamin A works behind the scenes to maintain the neural interface between the eye and the brain. This includes the retinal pigment epithelium, a layer of cells critical to transporting nutrients to the retina and clearing away waste. When this layer is functioning well, the visual cycle remains smooth and stable. But when vitamin A levels drop, this layer begins to fail in its duties, leading to a toxic buildup that accelerates vision loss. This is especially concerning for those over 50 because age itself is a stressor on this biological system. Supporting this layer with consistent vitamin A intake gives it the biological support it needs to keep the system operating efficiently. It's like keeping a car's engine oiled. Neglect it and breakdown is inevitable. Maintain it and it keeps running smoothly even as the miles add up. The connection between the eye and the brain is a real-time information highway. Every second, millions of visual inputs are processed, filtered, and interpreted. This constant feedback loop relies on the retina doing its job efficiently. If vitamin A is lacking, the photoreceptors become sluggish and eventually dysfunctional, slowing down the entire system. Imagine trying to stream a high-resolution video on a poor internet connection. That's what vision feels like without adequate vitamin A. The image is blurry, delayed, and filled with errors. These errors accumulate over time and can't always be fixed with glasses or surgery. Prevention is far more effective than correction, particularly when we're dealing with neural processing. When the visual system functions optimally, the brain receives clean, high-quality input which supports everything from depth perception to memory recall. The clarity of what we see directly influences how clearly we think and navigate the world around us. It's easy to underestimate the role nutrition plays in cognitive and sensory health. The body is a system of systems, and what affects one inevitably affects the others. The reason vitamin A is so powerful is because it supports both the structural and functional aspects of the visual system. Structurally, it keeps the eye tissues healthy. Functionally, it ensures proper signal transmission and brain interpretation. After 50, when regenerative capacity decreases, the margin for nutritional error becomes very slim. Small deficiencies that the body once compensated for now manifest as serious dysfunctions. Vision doesn't fade in a single moment. It erodes in small, compounding steps. That's why daily choices matter more as we age. Prioritizing this nutrient helps the brain maintain one of its most important senses, vision, which in turn influences balance, cognition, and overall quality of life. Seeing clearly means living fully, and that begins with cellular health supported by targeted nutrition. Many people wait for symptoms before taking action, but the smarter approach is to get ahead of the problem. Once vision starts to decline, the damage is often irreversible. Vitamin A offers a unique opportunity to preserve the delicate systems involved before that decline becomes a disability. Studies show that those with consistent intake of this vitamin experience slower progression of age, macular degeneration, and better night vision. What's more, it doesn't take extreme doses or complicated regimens, just regular, intentional inclusion in the diet or through safe supplementation. The protective effect compounds over time, like an investment in the body's long-term function. There's a reason this vitamin is often referred to as essential. It's not optional if we want to maintain quality of life into our later years. It gives the visual system the raw materials it needs to defend itself from both time and environmental damage. Eye strain, digital fatigue, and poor light adaptation are increasingly common even in people who consider themselves healthy. These symptoms may seem minor, but they are signals from the nervous system that the visual pathway is under pressure. Vitamin A works quietly in the background to relieve that pressure by nourishing the system at a cellular level. It's not a quick fix, it's a long-term strategy that supports resilience. The brain thrives on reliable input, and when that input comes through a healthy, well-supported retina, the entire system operates more efficiently. Focus, alertness, even emotional regulation can be affected by the quality of sensory input. Clear vision is about more than just seeing letters on a page. It's about reducing the cognitive load on the brain. When the eye and brain communicate seamlessly, life becomes easier to navigate, especially in older age. That's the power of nutritional neuroscience in action. Another reason vitamin A is so vital is that it influences how we adapt to different environments. Walking into a dark room, reading in low light, or adjusting to sunlight all require rapid adjustments by the eye. These functions are impaired when vitamin A is deficient, leading to slower adaptation and greater risk of accidents. For older adults, this can be especially dangerous. Falls and visual confusion increase when the eyes can't keep up with changing light conditions. Vitamin A acts as a biological stabilizer, ensuring the eye can react quickly and efficiently. This means safer movement, better navigation, and more confidence in daily activities. These aren't just conveniences, they're markers of independence. When we protect vision, we protect autonomy. Every supplement or food choice becomes an investment in staying mobile, sharp, and self-reliant for as long as possible. Finally, aging well is about stacking small advantages. Vitamin A is one of those quiet, consistent tools that doesn't shout for attention but delivers powerful results when prioritized. It protects against silent degeneration, supports neurotransmission, and enhances the overall performance of the visual system. When added to a lifestyle that includes movement, sunlight, and mental engagement, its effects multiply. There's no dramatic transformation overnight, but instead, a gradual retention of capacity, something that's priceless after 50. When the eyes stay strong, the brain stays sharp, and the connection between body and mind remains intact. That's not just longevity, That's quality longevity. All it takes is awareness, commitment, and the understanding that the smallest nutrients can yield the biggest rewards over time. With consistent care, the eyes don't have to dim as the years go on. They can remain a clear window to a vibrant, present, and fully lived life. The brain and the eye are in constant communication, operating as one tightly integrated system that relies on speed, precision, and adaptability. When the retina captures light, it converts that information into neural signals that are sent to the brain in real time. This visual processing demands an uninterrupted flow of signals across neural pathways, which can weaken with age. One of the key players in maintaining the strength and integrity of this brainy connection is vitamin A. It helps regenerate rhodopsin, the light-sensitive receptor protein in the eye necessary for vision in low-light conditions. Without enough vitamin A, this regeneration process slows, leading to delayed adaptation in dim environments and a noticeable drop in clarity. But the impact doesn't stop at the eyes. It extends directly into the brain. Because vision begins with light but ends in interpretation, every stage in that chain must stay strong. Supporting that continuity is essential to maintaining youthful cognitive responsiveness through the visual system. As the brain ages, its ability to change, or neuroplasticity, begins to decline. This affects not just learning and memory, but sensory processing, including how visual information is managed. Vitamin A plays a subtle but powerful role in preserving neuroplasticity by ensuring the consistency and strength of signals from the eye to the brain. This matters because visual clarity is dependent not only on what the eye sees, but also on how quickly and accurately the brain can respond to those signals. When that loop is strong, a person can react to changes in the environment with confidence, catching subtle movements, adjusting to new lighting, and recognizing faces even at a distance. With age, that clarity can fade, not necessarily from disease, but from weakened communication along the visual pathway. Vitamin A helps reinforce this communication, making the neural feedback loop more reliable. The brain needs clean input to make smart decisions, and that begins with the precision of the visual signal. Inside the visual cortex, the part of the brain responsible for interpreting what we see, neurons fire in response to signals arriving from the eyes. These neurons depend on synaptic efficiency, or how well they pass along information from one to the next. When vitamin A is present in optimal levels, it contributes to the health of these synapses by regulating oxidative stress and supporting cellular energy production. A strong synapse leads to stronger visual interpretation, whether it's recognizing faces, reading, or navigating complex environments. When that synaptic clarity declines, people often describe it as brain fog or visual dullness. It becomes harder to distinguish shapes, colors, or depth, especially in fast-moving settings. This isn't just inconvenient, it can be dangerous in situations that require quick visual judgment, like driving or walking on uneven ground. Vitamin A serves as part of the cellular defense system that keeps these neural synapses firing cleanly, efficiently, and in rhythm with the eyes. It helps retain the sharpness that keeps perception accurate. In older adults, eye fatigue becomes more frequent, particularly after prolonged use of digital screens or reading in poor lighting. This isn't merely a symptom of tired eyes. It's a sign that the neural processing system is under strain. Every image, every line of text is being transmitted from the eye to the brain, and if that system is weak, it takes more effort to maintain visual focus. Vitamin A helps relieve that burden by enhancing the speed and quality of the signal being sent. A faster signal means less effort to process it, resulting in reduced fatigue and longer periods of clear focus. This becomes especially important for those who are still intellectually active or working beyond middle age. Clarity of vision translates into cognitive endurance, helping people stay mentally present and alert throughout the day. The simple act of supporting that process through nutrient optimization can prevent unnecessary mental wear and tear. It's a biological energy saver that helps sustain clarity across the brain. Another critical benefit of vitamin A in this neural loop is its impact on contrast sensitivity, the ability to distinguish an object from its background. This may sound minor, but in real-world conditions, contrast sensitivity is key to everything from safe movement to effective reading. As we age, this sensitivity begins to drop, making it more difficult to detect subtle shifts in tone or edges of steps and curbs. This visual dulling increases the risk of falls and accidents. Vitamin A helps counter this decline by supporting the integrity of the rods and cones in the retina, cells responsible for detecting light and color differences. When these photoreceptors are healthy, they send clearer contrast signals to the brain. In turn, the brain can interpret those signals faster and more accurately. This seemingly simple feedback loop underpins so many day-to-day tasks, and maintaining it can dramatically improve one's quality of life. Vision in this way becomes a measure of one's independence and safety. The brain thrives on patterns and feedback, and the visual system is one of the most active sensory loops, feeding it data. Every image and movement triggers a cascade of neural responses that form our perception of the world. Vitamin A supports the smooth flow of this cascade by maintaining balance in the biochemical environment of the visual pathway. It regulates inflammatory markers, prevents cellular breakdown, and ensures that the environment around neurons remains conducive to growth and adaptation. This is especially vital in older adults, where systemic inflammation tends to rise. Chronic inflammation slows neural transmission and can distort visual interpretation, leading to slower reaction times and perceptual errors. By curbing this inflammation, vitamin A helps preserve the smoothness and speed of this sensory feedback loop. This doesn't just help people see better, it helps them stay mentally agile and physically responsive in dynamic environments. It acts as a behind-the-scenes stabilizer, keeping the vision-brain partnership functioning like a well-tuned system. Much of what we think of as visual intelligence, being able to scan a room, read body language, or sense spatial orientation, is deeply tied to the quality of the eye-brain connection. When the retina captures an image, it's only the first step in a multi-layered process. The brain must compare that image to past experiences, recognize its components, and generate a response, all in milliseconds. Vitamin A supports the initial clarity of that captured image, which in turn determines how well the brain can process it. Without a sharp signal, even the best brain struggles to make accurate sense of the environment. In practical terms, this can mean the difference between noticing a moving car or missing it, catching a fall early or too late. Vitamin A helps ensure that what the eye sees is delivered clearly, allowing the brain to perform its interpretive magic without delay. It's a vital piece in preserving the sensory intelligence that keeps people safe, sharp, and socially aware. Memory and vision are more interconnected than most people realize. The brain uses visual inputs to anchor memories, make associations, and recall information. When visual input weakens, memory encoding becomes less effective. Vitamin A aids this connection by making sure the images the eye captures are rich in detail, contrast, and consistency. This richness gives the brain more to work with, enhancing its ability to store and retrieve information. For aging adults, this link becomes even more important as both memory and vision are at risk of decline. Protecting the visual system becomes a pathway to protecting mental clarity and memory performance. When people can still recognize familiar places, faces, and objects with ease, they retain a stronger sense of confidence and emotional grounding. Vitamin A supports this by fueling the visual engine that feeds the brain accurate and memorable input. It keeps the memory machine running not through stimulation, but through clarity and precision at the sensory level. Adaptability is another major cognitive function that depends on strong visual input. Whether it's adjusting to a new location, learning a new skill, or reacting to unexpected stimuli, the brain needs reliable visual feedback to stay flexible. Vitamin A enhances this by ensuring the brain's interpretation of visual data remains steady, regardless of external lighting or complexity. This adaptability becomes crucial in aging, where unfamiliar environments or technology can feel overwhelming. When visual processing slows, the entire adaptive system bogs down, making change feel more difficult. By supporting visual flexibility, vitamin A indirectly supports cognitive flexibility. It helps maintain the dynamic brain, the one that can keep learning, adjusting, and moving forward. In a world that constantly evolves, especially as people age, the ability to adapt, visually and mentally, can be the difference between thriving and struggling. A healthy visual system backed by proper nutrition becomes a mental edge that lasts into later years. Ultimately, vitamin A is more than a protector of sight. It's a protector of sensory intelligence. It supports the flow of information, the adaptability of perception, and the resilience of neural systems involved in vision. As age brings natural wear to the body and brain, small advantages like these accumulate into significant functional differences. The eye and brain don't operate in isolation. They rely on each other to maintain presence, clarity, and responsiveness. With consistent support from nutrients like vitamin A, the visual brain loop can remain not just intact, but efficient and adaptive.